did my pound for pound list, right? I want you guys to take some things into consideration here. Let me start this fire. I want you guys to take some things into consideration here. One, I understand what jumps out at you, right? For a lot of you who are new to this channel, I know the first thing you say is women, women in the list. I understand that. It's something that we've been doing on this channel, in this community for some time now. And I understand if you're not ready for that, okay? I have an all-inclusive list. I do have a men's pound for pound and women's pound for pound, but I just think it's so fun to have a list where I'm comparing them all and their accomplishments, accolades, and their career and what they're doing. So this list includes women and men, okay, all together. And I believe I'm the only one that's doing this. A lot of people aren't really ready to do something like this. So if you're not ready, I understand. Also, I want you guys to understand that the pound for pound list isn't a real thing that's official. This is my pound for pound list, okay? And I just think it's so interesting to add women and men to the list. And I'm really pushing for that. Another thing I want you guys to take into consideration is what have you done for me lately? It's not an all-time list. It's what have you done for me lately? So I use that very, very strongly when putting my list together. Also, the whole heavyweight thing, I don't subscribe to the fact that if you're a heavyweight, you're not supposed to be on a pound for pound list. That's not how it was used at all. I don't even know where that came from. The pound for pound list was to appreciate the smaller weight classes along with the heavyweights. Sugar Ray Robinson, thanks to him, people like Henry Armstrong, those fighters being so incredible, the best fighters in the world, you know, especially Sugar Ray Robinson, they kind of coined the phrase, well, he's pound for pound the best fighter in the world. It was to appreciate the little guys as well, not to exclude heavyweights. It was never used that way. So let's do the pound for pound list. And I know heavyweights can't move up and down weight classes, but they can still do great things. So it'd be no fair for them if they're doing great things and it's like, hey, you can't move up and down, so you're excluded. No, if you do great things, kind of like the women, right? Women doing great things, well, you're not a man, so you can't be included. No. That's not how I'm getting down here. So hold on real quick. Let me get my list out and let me explain. Here it is right here. Why I chose who I chose. So let's get started. I know this is a bit of a throwback, right? The fireplace is back. It's a bit of a throwback. I wanted to do that for this, just have a sit down with you guys. Just came back from the gym, by the way, picked up my son, knocks in the box. It's upstairs. So let's go. So at number one, with me including women, I have Clarissa Shields. And here's why. I have Clarissa Shields as the best fighter in the world. Because, okay, 2 Olympic gold medalists, not too many people doing that. No one has done that in the States. Lomachenko, as of right now, he's also done that. Clarissa Shields, though, 3-time undisputed in a 4-belt era. Nobody's doing that. So that accomplishment is so crazy. And she did it by beating the only one who can really give her true resistance, someone who beat her in amateurs. Her only loss she's ever had, if you include amateurs with her pro losses, that's Savannah Marshall, who got her beat in many physical. She just got many physical advantages over her. Reach, power, height, all those things. And she went to her hometown, UK. She traveled to do it. And, you know, the Queen passed, all those things. And she stayed there, hostile territory, calling herself the GWOAT, never stopped talking and saying how great she was. And she went over there and beat her. Okay. What she accomplished and what she's displaying there is what we would want. The fire's really growing pretty good, but it's what we would want out of all fighters, men, especially men, okay, who lead the sport of boxing. Also, Clarissa Shields, I do understand if you guys say, well, who she fought isn't on the level of who, I don't know, Errol Spence fought. I do have a counter argument to that. One, she's a woman fighting women. All right, so that's one thing there. Another thing, there was a time when Lomachenko was the best fighter in the world, at least top 3 in many people's pound for pound list. And he did less than what Clarissa Shields accomplished, and they were putting him there. Another thing, I have no problem with giving trailblazers and those who push an entire sport forward more than everybody else their love, like Jim Brown. Jim Brown, football player, known as arguably the greatest football player of all time, he had many physical advantages over the guys he played with in the NFL at that time. Still, the fact that he was that much greater than everybody and a trailblazer, pushing the entire sport forward, bringing eyes to the sport, Jim Brown is considered arguably the greatest football player of all time. Clarissa Shields, what she's doing for women boxing, 3-time undisputed, historic Olympic achievements for boxing. She's a trailblazer. She is creating many little girls out there to look up to her and change the sport forever. That is called all-time greatness. If you're not ready right now to give her love for that now, you will later, as the entire boxing game change, especially for women. Her being a trailblazer, you will later. And when you do, you're going to go back to Clarissa Shields and say, okay, it's just that I'm giving her her love, her roses now. All right. So at number 2, I have Alexander Usyk. Alexander Usyk, I know he's a heavyweight. Like I said before, pound for pound was never meant to exclude heavyweights. Alexander Usyk, undisputed at cruiserweight, moves up to heavyweight, fight a few heavyweights, Chisora being one of them, and very quickly fights Anthony A.J. Joshua, one of the better, best heavyweights in the world and unified champion in Anthony A.J. Joshua. Beats him twice. To me, that's insane. So I have him at number 2. Katie Taylor I have at number 3. Not too much different than all the reasons I have for Clarissa Shields, except for Clarissa Shields is doing something greater with 3-time undisputed in the 4-belt era. Katie Taylor, on the other hand, undisputed, defending her belts. How many times? 10 times? 11? Defending her belts many times. And her last defense, she broke records in the States, just like how Clarissa Shields went over to the UK. She came over here and she fought number 1, number 2, pound for pound, women pound for pound champions in Amanda Serrano and beat her to do so. Nobody else, men or women, are doing things like that. And since I include women, Katie Taylor, I have her at 3. And number 4, Naoya Inoue. He is probably the most dominant fighter in the world. The only other one I would think would be Artur Beterbiev. And he's doing it over many weight classes. But on top of that, when I say, what have you done for me lately? He's definitely that, because he's about to fight Paul Butler to fight for undisputed. Okay? So I'm giving him his love there. At number 5, I have Jermell Charlo. Jermell Charlo is undisputed. When you're undisputed, you're on my list. Jermell Charlo is undisputed in the 4-belt era. Cleared out everybody to do it, but what have you done for me lately? Beating Castaño in a rematch after the first one was a controversial draw. But he knocks him out. But now he's going to fight Tim Tszyu. That's amazing. What have you done for me lately? That's what's in his future, defending his 4 titles, being undisputed. That's great. So I do have him over Terrence Bud Crawford. Once again, what have you done for me lately? When it comes to skill set, if it was a skills pound for pound list, Terrence Crawford would probably be 1, right? And Shakur would be on the list and stuff like that. It'd be a different kind of list if it was all about skills only, but it's not. Terrence Bud Crawford is arguably the most skillful fighter in the world. But with that said, he was undisputed years ago. What have you done for me lately? Like I said, this pound for pound list is a snapshot of now. But he did beat Showtime Sean Porter his last fight, which was last year. Okay, fine. What does he have coming up? He's going to fight that one dude, that one guy, right? Not to be disrespectful. It's not Errol Spence. And we know that he's going to beat him. BOK Prime pay-per-view. Make sure you guys there December 10th. So I have Terrence Bud Crawford there. Canelo Alvarez, I have 7. And I know Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez slipping is the big moment. Canelo Alvarez, what have you done for me lately? Okay, he's undisputed, so he has to be there in the pound for pound list. So Canelo Alvarez, he was dominated by Bivol in a way that I don't think he deserves a rematch, personally. Don't forget, this is about personal pound for pound list. Bivol wasn't on the pound for pound, okay? I don't even think Bivol was considered top 20 pound for pound. Bivol dominated Canelo. Fine. Canelo followed that up by fighting a 160-pound, 40-year-old champion in Triple G, all right? So that doesn't jump him up at all after the loss, but it gives him credit because he's defending being undisputed at 168, regardless of who it's against. Still, Triple G is actually going back down to 160, so he just went up to 168, not even to campaign there, but to get his revenge against Canelo Alvarez. We saw that fight. Triple G had to conserve his strength, and just had to be very smart because physically 40 years old. And now Canelo Alvarez, due to surgery, he hurt his hand before the fight. He needs surgery. He's going to be out for a year. What have you done for me lately? There's other fighters who are doing things now, like Naoya Inoue fighting Paul Butler for undisputed. Like Jermell Charlo, undisputed now, going to fight Tim Tszyu. So you're talking about people who are doing more now. That's going to be than Canelo Alvarez after his loss with Bivol. So I got him at 7. Errol the True Spence I have at 8. But I'm hearing that Errol the True Spence will be fighting Stanionis. That's what I'm hearing. But I'm hearing it. That's not confirmed. We don't know what's going to happen. So as of right now, Errol the True Spence is not undisputed. He's unified. Fantastic fighter who deserves to be there. I don't have him over Terrence Bud Crawford when you add everything, okay? And I don't have him over Canelo Alvarez. He's been inactive for a while. We don't know what he's going to do next, and I understand why. But as of right now, it's a snapshot of right now. I don't see him doing more than Canelo Alvarez, Clarissa Shields, Alexander Usyk. They're doing greater things. And Alexander Usyk, he's back out there in the Ukraine on giving emotional support and inspiration to the front lines, to the soldiers there. Much love to Usyk. At number 9, I have Devin the Dream Haney. I had him at 10 before the update. And I have him at 9 because what have you done for me lately? He beat the hell out of Kambosos with power shots. He beat him up in a way that impressed me, since he could have done it the same way he did the first time, with just the jab. This time he did it with the right hand. He made an adjustment to what could have possibly been Kambosos' adjustment, fighting him totally different than he did the first time. And he did it over there in Australia, okay, defending his undisputed titles. And what have you done for me lately? Outside of that, you're talking Bob Arum. Bob Arum! Talking about that he will be taking on Vasily Lomachenko if Lomachenko gets past Jermaine Ortiz next weekend, okay? And that's what's in this possible future. And Devin the Dream Haney, this is all understood when he signed that 3-contract deal with the Top Rank, all right? And at number 10, I have Artur Beterbiev, unified at light heavyweight, dominant, knocking everybody out. Joe Smith knocking out fantastic fighters. He's crushing the opposition. He's a belt away from being undisputed, and it is understood that if they get past their next fights, which is Bivol and Beterbiev, that they will be fighting each other for undisputed. Now, I want to say this. That's my top 10, and that's why. If you guys want to put Bivol in there instead of better BF. I understand, but just like the criticism I had of Canelo Alvarez fighting a great fighter in Triple G, but a great fighter at 160 moving up, Bivol, what he actually did, though he beat Canelo Alvarez isn't a natural light heavyweight. He was moving up, though he was top 3 pound for pound fighter. He moved up. And what Bivol essentially did was defend his title by beating an undersized great fighter. All right. But if you want to put him in the top 10, you can on your list. It's okay. Me, that's not my list. I'm not saying that my list is right. Your list is wrong. There's no such thing. What this video is just me explaining my top 10. I'm not pulling it just out my ass. It's very thought of. Okay, I really put some real thought into it, and I have reasons for my top 10, and those are the reasons. Keep in mind that I have women and men sharing the list. If you don't, fine. Also keep in mind is what have you done for me lately. It's not an all-time list. It's not a favorite fighters list, and it's not a skills only list. Thank you guys for showing up and showing out. Showbizz, don't. I hope that suffice as an explanation, at least, of my pound for pound list. I'm out.